welcome back to another episode of Pro Gear Reviews. It's the Christmas special! We're going to be turning this gingerbread train into a gingerbread tank. So, I unfortunately started recording shortly after commencement of construction. Right here's the turret section that I started gluing together for this video. The term gluing is just going to be icing. It's basically like you're building a model but with cookies. So the icing is the icing that's included in the kit, and it was just a store-bought kit, and I took a picture of an Abrams and went based off the picture of the tank and just straight up used a steak knife to cut some of the pieces into shapes. So this piece here are just some of the smaller cookie bits that I've cut off. I left an open section for the cannon. So the main cannon's going to be a candy cane. And some of those smaller sections I fill in with icing a bit later. But for the main body of the tank, it's literally just a couple sections of the train. They're all like different panels that break off, which isn't really a big deal because when I was building some of it, you can see that I had to glue that down the middle between those two pieces. The whole thing's meant to break apart anyway, so you just add icing and then it dries and then it's good to go. The only disadvantage to doing this is the fact that you have to wait for all the icing to dry. But when you're doing all the shavings and cuts and stuff like that, you actually get a fine cookie powder that ends up being the sand. So the peppermint wheels are the drive wheels, and all those small wheels are the ones that are at the bottom of the track with the suspension arms. This is the round piece of the turret. That round cookie piece is meant to elevate the turret up off the body, so it resembles the height and I guess the little turny bit of the tank. And it's going to sit right on top like this. But the issue is that it's sticking up really high. So the round cookie bit has a bit of a curve to it. So I just take a steak knife and scrape it down until it's flat. And that way it sits flush. This is the, I think it's passion fruit cannon. And we're going to be doing the tracks now. The tracks are made out of licorice ribbon, and today's Christmas forecast is cloudy with a chance of freedom, so we are going with red, white, and blue. So I've taken the rainbow strip and I've literally just peeled the red, white, and blue out of it, and the red, white, and blue is going to be our tank tread color, or tank track color, I should say. So you have to go a little bit heavy with the icing when you're doing this because it's sugar coated, and the icing has a tendency of dissolving some of the sugar. So what will end up happening is that the track won't stick properly. So I alluded to me having to scrape the bottom of the turret piece, and I actually just used a steak knife, but the tank track comes back over like this, and it sits and nests right under the main body of the tank, and then all those little wheels will sit on it. This is what I was talking about when I had to scrape that the main piece down. And again, the advantage of having to do that tedious work with the steak knife is that the byproduct of it is like all the sandy cookie bits that ends up being the sand. I actually ended up using graham cracker crust and brown sugar as the sand. This was planned a couple years ago, so it's old. I wouldn't eat it. This Christmas choo-choo train sat in my cupboard for 2 years, so I'm not eating any of this. Once I put the freedom ribbon on the drive wheel here, I had to lean some stuff against it just so it held it in place while the glue cured, or the icing cured. And that cup is for the same reason, just because it was a little bit dried out because it sat in my pantry for so long. So once that's dried, we move on to the other side. So you can see it's just sitting there, and we're going to do the red side. Now I've placed the ribbon here, and this little green bit at the front, because the candy cane or the peppermint flywheel or drive wheel is on the tank, what would be the driving motor, and the front, I believe, it is a belt tensioner, and it's basically going to function in the same capacity. That little green jujube is going to be what holds the belt in place so that we can fold it back over along itself, along those wheels, and then connect it to the drive wheel. So here we have it. Both tank tracks have been glued on, and I've even put on some shreddies. Now the shreddies are to emulate the whole armor on the side of the tank. They are super light, so it only took a little bit of icing to get them on. And that's basically what you're left with, is this tank. So you can glue a bunch of goofy shit on the top, like I did. So I peppered it all over with all the candies and stuff that came with the kit, and put even a little machine gun, put the hatch for the tank, and that's it. So everything there is edible except for that Christmas tree. Christmas tree I took from my kid's playset. And there you go. So you got a freedom tank, or freedom bread tank. And admittedly, I ate some of the old candy while I was making it. But for first time go, I think I'm going to do something like an Apache next year or something. Something ridiculous. But it was most certainly an adventure making it. Let me know what you think, and comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching Pro Gear Reviews.